Hello everyone, welcome back to another Pokemon This Here's Gold and Silver episode talk. So in this episode, we are taking a little bit of a lunch break. Yes indeed, I guess it's time for a wee bit of a break. And then Ash almost chokes on a little bit of a sandwich, so since he can't really fix himself, Pikachu decides to shock everyone out of a panic, and that causes Ash to swallow. However, this also attracted the attention of a special Mareep, who comes charging in for Pikachu's electricity, and then its wool gets bigger, because that is apparently how Mareep works. However, this one isn't the only one, so apparently its friends are nearby as well, so then there's about like 50 of them around Pikachu, all wanting a taste of that Pika electricity. So then a little girl comes in named Mary, who tries to get them off of Pikachu, but that doesn't really work. Also, Ash's Strike didn't work either. However, then her mother is here, who uses her Raichu in order to get the Mareep off, and that works perfectly. Then we go to their house, and we learn that there's going to be a festival. However, Ash, you cannot enter the battle, because it is only for the people who live here. However, Mary wants to enter, because she likes Pokemon battling, and her mom is like, no, you already weren't able to use the Mareep, like to get the Mareep off of Pikachu, so you can't battle. And I'm like, well, to be honest, battling is one of the main things people do in this world, so we don't have Hoenn yet, so what else is she supposed to do? So then after that, Brock decides to volunteer us to help with the Mareep, and that's gonna be the rest of the episode. So we help the Mareep. However, also Team Rocket want the Mareep wool, because apparently when James was younger, he had a bunch of clothing made out of Mareep wool, and it was super soft, and they want to sell that and also give the Mareep, I guess, to the boss as well. So then we get a bit of a montage about helping the Mareep. Very nice. And then afterwards, apparently Mary's Mareep is named Fluffy, and she challenges Ash and Pikachu to a battle. So the battle begins, and this battle's a little bit weird. We'll talk about that in a bit. But anyway, she starts off with Headbutt. Remember, move tutor, that's how, because I don't think Mareep can actually learn Headbutt by level up. But anyway, Headbutt misses, then afterwards a growl happened, which is the shot from the intro, which I was like, hey, it's the intro shot. And then afterwards, she's like, you Speed Star, and I'm like, what? And then I see the move, and I'm like, what? Do you mean Swift? Why did you use the Japanese name? Speed Star is the Japanese name for Swift. Why did you use the Japanese name? It's so weird. And then afterwards, we have a bit of a Thunder Shock clash. However, Ash sees that Pikachu is using up too much power, so he tells Pikachu to stop and instead use the dodging maneuvers in order to be able to dodge. And this, Mary doesn't pick up on this, so Mary keeps firing off, and then Fluffy trips, and that's the end of the battle. And then she's like, why did you have Pikachu stop? And he's like, well, because of the fact that Pikachu already wore itself out during the helping your mom part of the episode, so it would have gone bad if I let it continue, so I just decided to stop. Dodging is better, and then maybe we can do counterattack, that kind of stuff. And I like this scene because of the fact it shows how great of a trainer Ash is, where he saw that, because like the novice trainer, Mary, she did not notice that Mareep was using too much power, but Ash did, so I like the contrast in that one. Anyway, afterwards it's dinner time. However, Mary is not downstairs yet, so the mom goes upstairs to get her daughter. However, the thing is, the daughter is talking to Fluffy and apologizing to Fluffy about the fact of how the battle went, and then maybe her mom was right. So then afterwards we eat dinner, we go to bed. However, then we get woken up, and to be honest, I would exactly be like a Snorlax if you did it to me, okay? If you wake me up in the middle of the night, I will be waking up in a grumpy rage. But anyway, there's a storm coming, and we need that for the Mareep. They can absorb the electricity and have perfect wool and all that stuff. So we go out, we go to the location, the Mareep get into position, and I do like how the Mareep are like, gimme, gimme, gimme. So they get shocked, absorb the whole thing, and then Team Rocket capture them. And also Pikachu. And they also got some lights on the balloon as well. And they have a shock absorber, so when Raichu uses Thunderbolt, it gets absorbed. And Raichu is powerful enough, because apparently that thing can take out a Dragonite or something. That was like a Pokedex entry, I think. But anyway, he overloads the shock absorber, and this causes fire, and the balloon goes down. The Mareep run away, so does some of the Mareep with Pikachu. Ash gets Pikachu back, but still in cage. Mareep grabs a rock and tries to open the dang thing up. The Mareep tried to shock Team Rocket, but the shock absorber still works, so Meowth holds it up in order to absorb it. However, then Mary has an idea, and Fluffy jumps in, and she's like, Mom, focus the electricity on Fluffy. So they do that. Fluffy gets huge, and then uses like a super thunder shock in order to blast off in order to stop Team Rocket, and then Pikachu comes out to blast off. That's how it went. And then afterwards, the mom gives Mary a Pokeball in order so that she can participate in the festival battles, and she actually does. We get to see a little bit of that as well, so that is nice. And then I guess we're gonna continue on with the journey. And overall, I thought this was actually a kind of a fun episode. I did like the whole backstory on Mareep. I like Mareep, big fan. I mean, I use Mareep in Pokemon Shadows, but still, big fan of Mareep. My only real problem with that evolutionary line is the fact that, well, number one, I don't necessarily have room for it on my team, but also, Ampharos is just a little bit slow, and with a little bit, I mean a lot of it. That thing is super slow, but outside of the speed, Ampharos is actually, like, I think actually the Gen 2 guidebooks actually forced you to use Mareep, because it was like, you need to have an Ampharos on your team or you're going to die in game. So, yeah, that's where a lot of people's love for Ampharos came from, probably from being forced by the guidebook to use one. But it is a great partner. But like I said, overall, I enjoyed the episode. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comment section down below. With that being said, thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Turn on notifications. Don't forget to check out the Let's Play channel in the description and at the end of the video. And then next up, we're gonna have another episode about a Pokemon that I like, used on Pokemon Shadows, however, also has terrible speed. Bye!